iPad or a phone and log into our card right here. I think it's just join.tv. It's the website for it. So throughout the panel, you will be able to type questions on your device, and it will show up right here on my iPad, and I'll ask them to our panelists after we finish our presentation. Please feel free to ask any question. No question. And everything will be completely anonymous, so don't be afraid to ask any questions. How are we doing? Are we logged on?
So I'm Safari. I compare that. I got it.
It's right here. You put it right here. MHFOL.
Yo, what kind of website am I going on?
Internet.
I didn't know that. Oh,
Search up her.
I think the website to join is join.com or paradigm.com. Check, how we doing?
Let's see.
Is everyone on? For those of you that are on it, are you seeing something that says questions and a little space to write something? Yeah. Okay, awesome. So we're gonna get started. We're just okay, so we're gonna introduce ourselves. Start down there.
I'm Em. I'm a junior. I use he, him pronouns. I'm the treasurer of GSDF.
I'm Gianna. I'm a freshman and I go by Jade.
I'm Kaylin. I use she, her, they, them pronouns, and I'm a sophomore.
I'm Blake. I'm a senior. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm the president of the GSDF.
My name is Vivian. I'm a sophomore and I use they, them pronouns.
My name is Will. I'm a freshman and I use he, him pronouns.
All right, so basically what we're going to be going over today is being transgender and some basic definitions with that. So first, we just have transgender, which means someone who identifies as a gender other than what they were assigned with at birth. And cisgender is someone who identifies with the gender they were assigned at birth. So something important to remember with these are that these are identities. So cisgender, for example, is different than biological sex because biological sex is our body parts and transgender and cisgender is how we identify with those. Does that make sense for everyone? And I'll check on that. How are you doing? Good? Awesome.
So within transgender and cisgender, we have the binary, which is genders that are either male or female, or you're a boy or you're a girl. It's all the way towards masculine, all the way towards feminine. And within that, we have trans people who are binary, who are FTF, or people who were female, have transitioned to male, and people who are MTF, who are male, who have transitioned to female.
And then trans is actually also an umbrella term because there are people who do not identify with either of those, and those people are known as non-binary because they don't identify with the all the way masculine or all the way feminine sort of thing.
For masculine or male, they're all the way over here and here. But for women, they're here and here. Non-binary people are usually somewhere in the middle, but they can be like here some and then here some. And here or here. Basically, they're not all the way one way or all the way the other way. They're like sort of in the middle.
Yeah, so gender expression is basically how we express ourselves, like the clothes we wear. So it's important to remember that gender expression is not something that directly correlates with gender. So it can be something that plays a role in it, but a female could dress masculine, or anyone can dress the way they want to, and it's not dependent on gender.
So pronouns has to do a lot with transgenderism and being a good ally of trans people. So pronouns are basically how to refer to people without having to like say their name over and over again. Like instead of say Sally decided to pet Sally's dog, you would say Sally decided to pet her dog. So that would be an example of she, her pronouns. And the most common ones are she, her, hers, his, they, them, theirs. So the second one would invite you to like turn to your neighbor and just share your pronouns, like your name and pronouns. Like I would say, hi, my name's Giada, and I go by they, them pronouns.
Just turn to your neighbor, say your pronouns. Hey guys, we can get your attention again. Thank you.
So idea, like where I get and want to get used to it, I'm not used to because I'm just so a lot of people are that's but it's good to like get used to it because it's good to respect people regardless of what one has. Another thing is that there's like misconceptions that they them pronouns are meant to be just well, totally referring to more than one person rather than just one person that goes by their pronouns, which isn't completely true because English does change and there's been in the past of which they them singular was used, and there's also other languages or much older than English that use they them singular. People probably would use these because it's more of a general thing. So a lot of non-binary people go by they them pronouns because it's not really, it doesn't have the masculine or feminine connotation. Another thing that kind of comes along with pronouns, like preferred pronouns, is preferred name. So if a trans person asks you to call them a different name than what you might have been used to, then you just refer them by that name. And if you happen to just make a mistake when referring to people with like the wrong pronouns or name, then it can be as simple as just correcting yourself and moving on.
Dysphoria is basically when you don't feel comfortable with the gender you were born as. So basically, a trans person will feel a disconnect with the body they were born in because it doesn't align with the gender they identify. So there's different ways people cope with dysphoria. Some people medically transition, but some people don't have that option. It's dangerous for some people to get surgery or go on hormones. So something we like to talk about here is binding. So it's basically for someone who was born female to flatten their chest to present more masculine or androgynous. So in the media a lot we see trans people binding with what's called an ace bandage. Does everyone know what an ace bandage is? Yeah, it's usually you put it around your ankle or like your arm when you get hurt. So what that does is it's not safe basically. It constricts your lungs so when you breathe it's actually pushing you in. So a safe binder is something you can get on any website. You just look up a binder, or you can look up transgender binder so you don't get like a school binder. So there's some popular sites like Underworks and GTQB that sells them. They are quite a bit expensive, but it's a lot better than putting yourself at risk because binding with ace bandages can be really dangerous. So that's just something we like to talk about in case any of you guys are thinking about binding because it can be very dangerous and it's not very well represented. So if any of you are struggling with this, you don't really understand it, or this is something you're questioning yourself, there's so many resources that are provided to you here and other places. So in our school, we have the GCA, which we are all members of. It's the Gay Straight Transgender Alliance. Basically what we do is we just provide a safe space for any student who, if you need to come ask a question, we're open to that, we love that. Or if you just want to come hang out and see what we're doing. We're working on getting a GCA in the middle schools, we march in Pride, we put together Ally Week. It's a really fun club, and if any of you just need some place safe to go and you want to read, then that's an amazing place. Teachers are usually open. Some of them have like a little safe space sticker on the front of their doors. Teachers that have that are opening their room to you as a safe space where you can go ask questions, or you can go tell them something that's bothering you about like if you are questioning your own identity, if you need a teacher to talk to, whose teachers with a little safe space sticker can help. Also, any of the social workers or any of the administration would be able to help with that as well. And overall, just ask questions, like research stuff online. Any of these people you see up here will likely be able and open to answering your questions. We also have an Instagram page at SPHS.GCA. If you have a question ever, you can always text us there. And all of the officers' Instagram pages are on there too, if you want to contact them personally. So that's the end of our little presentation, but I want you guys to take a second and write down questions that you have. I want us to interact a little bit. I want a few questions on here, so if you could all just take a second and ask some questions, that would be great. I'll give you guys a minute. You can talk amongst yourselves and discuss the questions first.
Wait, really? Alright, so we have a question that says, can you define what androgynous means? So androgynous is what we call like a gender expression.
How do you pronounce that?
Androgynous.
That's wild.
So it's like dressing in a gender neutral way, presenting yourself in a gender neutral way. Does that make sense? Cool. Can we talk a little bit about our coming out stories and how, if you changed your name from Courtney, how that went?
My coming out story is very gradual because I didn't really realize I was transgender at first, which is, I think, pretty common for a lot of people because a lot of like younger kids are educated on queer issues, so they don't really know what they are until they start questioning their identity. That was very true for me. I've always kind of been more masculine, and so people have always kind of assumed that I'm a boy, and I kind of subconsciously presented that way. And some members of my family have been very accepting, especially on my mother's side. However, on my father's side, it hasn't really been that story. And name changing is hard. I've changed my name multiple times from my birth name, and so I know people that call me like 3 different names because they aren't extremely sure because I wasn't clear with them on the name that I really want to be called.
For me, it's kind of the same story, but the way I came out to my dad, I really regret. I literally just threw a book at him and said, read this, and I ran. But after a while, my parents are still accepting. They refuse to use they, them pronouns, but that's just how it is. They also refuse to use my preferred name. That's also just how it is. I just have to go with that, try to correct them politely. And my mom's side is the only side that knows about my non-binariness. And I'm petrified to come out to my dad's side, but
I want to tell a cute little story. This is my favorite story that I have. So when I came out to my sister, I was very scared to tell her in person. So I texted her while I was in the same room. And basically I just texted her and I was like, I'm non-binary. And the first thing that came out of her mouth is, what name do you want me to call you? And that was just a really sweet moment for me because my parents were a little hesitant calling me by a different name. So it was very validating that my sister was just so open to that. And so Monday we had the ally panel. We talked a lot about being an ally, which is basically just being supportive of the LGBTQ+ community. And moments like those where you have an ally and an ally supporting you makes you feel so much more comfortable when you're coming out.
My coming out story, gender-wise, is still kind of happening, I guess, is a way to put it. So, my mother, I just kind of told her in the car, because I thought she already knew. She didn't. So, she was like, oh, okay. So, I mean, she doesn't fully agree with it, but she's trying to understand. She's asking questions. She's trying to, get a hold of it. She's accepting of it. She just doesn't understand it. I haven't told my father, because my father, no. That's the only way I'm going to put it. But, I mean, it's still going on, so it's all right.
I was a similar way. I mean, my mom was really accepting of it, and she learned really quickly. Again, with my father, no, but and my brother. But I actually came out to my sister because it was really hard for me. I didn't know how to say it, and it's still hard for me to do that with peers now because it's constant fear that you're not going to get accepted and you're not going to feel comfortable, which is why it's really important to understand this so that you can regardless of what your personal opinion is or if you're not comfortable with it, it's good to get used to it because people.
I've been out for a very long time. Coming out, always stressful, but I am very fortunate to have parents who are actually both teachers. And one thing you'll know about teachers is that they never want to stop learning. So you introduce anything new to them, and they want to know everything they can about it. So both of my parents found out that I was trans and learned everything they could. And my cute little story is we told my brother, who was probably around 10 at the time.
That's right.
That's him right there. And ignorance isn't always a bad thing. It's just not knowing. So we told him that I was a boy, and his question was, does this mean he's going to like sports more? The answer is no. So, not knowing, not always a bad thing.
So another question is, can we explain what LGBTQ+ stands for? So basically, LGBTQ+ just stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, and then queer, which a lot of people see as a slur that was used a while ago against the LGBTQ+ community. And basically, that's just something that has been reclaimed and is used for people who identify as LGBT as an umbrella term for anyone who wants to identify it. And then there's just a plus at the end to make sure everyone's So we get a lot of questions about how many genders there are. So can you go to the non-binary slide? So something that's important to remember with gender is that it's a spectrum and that everyone feels gender in a different way, if that makes sense. So, my definition of being non-binary is going to be different than Giada's definition of being non-binary, because we're all feeling that in a different way, and our expression is all different. It's hard to say, how many there are, because we all feel it differently. It's not just if you're trans, you feel it differently. We all feel it differently through our expression and through how we want to present ourselves and things like that. How would you come out to somebody if they don't, if like you don't think they would care, but you still want to like come out to them?
I cannot do that. The first thing to think about is your safety. Emotionally, physically, verbally, if you think this person is going to either verbally or physically hurt you or attack you in any way, like it isn't always the best choice. Like you need to think about your safety with someone. Is the first thing you always need to think about. And also there are a bunch of kind of indirect ways to go, whether it's like it isn't always sitting down and telling someone like picking up their sister via text, right? Because they were missing one. Like you can write a letter to someone, you can text them, you can throw a book at them. Not the best always, but there are a bunch of indirect ways to, and if it's not always kind of a direct answer, sometimes you need to come out multiple times and really make things clear to someone. And it's really just important to think about your safety.
And I think it's really important to, before you come out and say, I'm this, to talk about queer issues and to sort of make sure that you're on at least a similar page on the validity and okayness of queer issues.
Is it okay to experiment with pronouns?
I'd say yes.
It is absolutely okay to experiment with pronouns. I know I said this on Monday, but pronouns kind of like shoes. You have to try them on, make sure that they actually fit before you tell the whole world that that's what you want to go by. And the GSTA is a really good place to do that, because if you come in and tell us these are the pronouns you want to go by today, we're happy to do that.
What if you are not sure about your identity and you still want to come out to somebody? Should you wait for you?
I think it's a personal choice. I think for me, I wanted to make sure that I was completely, perfectly sure of who I was before I came out, and I think it made the transition pretty smooth, but I don't know.
Also, if you want to come out to someone with a certain identity, and you're not like super sure, it's usually more useful to come out to a smaller circle of like, very close friends that you know will have your back and you know will be there for you. Because coming out can be stressful, and if you do find that you don't identify as that, it would be easier to change name, pronouns, identity, things like that with a smaller group of friends than if you had to tell all your teachers, all your acquaintances, everyone. So usually, if you're unsure of something, usually coming out to a smaller group of people will be helpful, but like Em said, it's not and it stays forever.
I want to stop that for a second. So, if you're not really sure of your identity, you don't have to come out just because you're questioning it. If you say you have a best friend who you know would be really excited with you, and you just need to talk about it and like talk about questioning it, that is so okay. That doesn't have to be your coming out story. It's, oh, I asked my friend some advice if I'm gay or not. Like, if that doesn't have to be your coming out story, because it's not really coming out, you're questioning. So it's important to remember you can still ask questions, and it's like you don't have to come out through that. That makes sense. So this is, I think, our last question, and it's really sweet, and I like it. It just says, "How was your day?" I mean, it's only 8:42 in the morning.